Good morning. We completed 100 days of review, and what we're going to do is just kind of break it down into some hand values. And I think right now we're going to start with some pocket pairs. This will be our next batch of analysis. So on this hand, we start with pocket nines on the button. Folds around to me, and I open raise. Open raising, we're going to be pretty wide. We are doing it because we're going to be in position against the blinds. Blinds might steal. You can see fold to steal is 50%, fold to steal is 0 here. We can be pretty wide, and if we just look at our the range, this is all of the range that we're probably going to be opening with, but you have an expanded range, those blue, and I think a lot of times I add those in to where we're almost raising 100%. It's not 100%. I mean, this is 40%, or at least the button's more than 40%. But I don't think so. I think I'm gonna drop those blue because I've got two loose players here. This player's playing 40%. When we look at his small blind, he's almost 50%. 50% calls. He's gonna be a pretty wide range here. So even though we're in position, we can play more hands than the callers and the blinds. I don't feel like I'm quite at that stage yet, so I dropped these hands as expected. Small blind called and the big blind called, so the big blind's the other one, and the big blind's really the one. It doesn't look like he calls at all. I'm sorry, he folds at all. He's called 2 bets 3 out of 3 times from the big blind. His fold to steal stat 0. That's just kind of another reason to kind of drop some of the really weak hands here. What's small blind's range? I just set it at 50%. I do think we can eliminate queens plus ace king. He does have a very small 3-bet range. We have king queen suited is known for it, but that was the one time. That could be from the blind, so maybe he would 3-bet versus a steal a little bit wider. Maybe that. So we'll take those out. Same thing with this villain. He looks to be passive. He looks to be a little bit more aggressive than everyone else. So I give this guy basically 100%, and I'm gonna exclude the queens plus ace king and say I think he probably would have raised that. So we go to a flop. King queen 7. Not the greatest, but I mean it's not the greatest for our hand, but that's gonna hit our range quite a bit. Either the king or the queen, because we do have a lot of like king jack, king 10 type hands. You could see king queen jack. We're gonna hit at least a pair quite frequently. We're at over 30% of the time, 35% of the time we're gonna hit at least queens plus. Plus we have all these other pairs. We've got draws, flush draw, open enders. We've got gut shots. I think we got some 2-card backdoor flush draws. So if it checks to us, I think our plan is to go ahead and cbet. Against these two looser opponents, you have to consider that they have a wide range and they're going to be dumping cards. So that good way is to kind of cbet when you have some hands, but I think this could be a situation where we're just going to cbet 100%. His fold to cbet step out of position 60%. This guy's 75%, so 3 out of 4. So I do think since they have so many hands in the range that would have missed this board, I think they're going to be overfolding, and because of that, I think we're probably just going to see about 100%. Note the donk flop stats. I don't think he's going to donk. I don't think this board's a board to donk. Not with 2 high cards that are connected. So I think they check 100%. and I checked behind. So I'm not sure if I like this. We are up against 3 players. I guess, one way we can think of it is we can check some of our premium hands and hope the player connects. But I see maybe a gut shot calling. I see open-ended straights calling. I see clubs drawing. I think there's so many hands that could call that we're missing out on hands. Missing out on value if we check. And even with pocket nines, yeah, we can be way behind a king. We could be way behind a queen. But we could also be ahead of the 10 jack and maybe ace 10, ace jack. So where we can start getting value, and they'll pay at least one bet. So I'm not sure if I like that check at all. And that kind of makes my hand difficult to play here, or difficult to hand read, because I probably shouldn't have had that. I don't see a check. If I check, it's going to be like the no-made hand stuff. And of course, you can always check for just kind of balance, deception. All right, so 4 diamonds comes out. Since I showed weakness, if anyone bets, I'm going to guess that they're going to bet with at least a pair. Except a bet like that. He bets one bet. I don't think that's 2 pair. I don't think that's top pair. I don't think it's middle pair. I'm not even sure. Maybe it's one of these. No made hand, your draws, your gut shots. Maybe that. If that. This looks just like it is a stab. Hey, no one wants it. I'm going to bet and try to take it. This player folds. I think he is weak, and it's on us. See, now we would have, 0 hands essentially in our range because we checked. And of those hands that we did check, it's like, what do we give up? But can we give up with one big blind? So I'm going to go back to here and say, let's just, for the sake of it, say that we did check. And we'll leave those backdoor flush draws. So we have something like that. 4 diamonds hits, he bets, and then it's like, what do we continue with? I mean, it seems like ace 4, 6 4, 5 4, 4 3 are hands that we could continue with. We do, of all of our checking range that is pretty weak. We do have a couple draws, but definitely with 9s we can't fold. I guess the question is, should we raise and try to get more money in there? If we raise and he's betting with a lot of these, I think he's probably just going to fold. So maybe our play here is just to call and hope he bets again just to get a little bit more value, because I don't believe he has king or queen. And I did call, and I think that's kind of, I guess maybe a weak pair. I could call flush draw, open ender, gut shots, but that's just way too passive. Versus a 1 bet like that, I'd say we should be raising with those, and that means then we should probably also be raising with some of these weak pairs, just to apply pressure. If he folds, hey, that's great. But I don't like how this at this point. I think the call is fine with our 9. Queen hits, I can't be scared of that because I don't really think he has a queen. He bets 1 again. I think this is just 100% junk. Maybe weak pair, probably ace high, nothing. That's all he has. We can't fold. If we want to get some more value, we can raise. Do I think he calls with anything? No, probably not. Not at all. We could raise with nothing as a bluff with our hands that happen to get there. But I did just call, and we see the showdown, and he shows 3, so 3s. So that is the weak pair. I have that in his range, and that makes sense for how he played it. And yeah, I don't think he's gonna call at all. If I raise it on the turn or on the river, he's just gonna dump those 3s. So I think on the turn and river, we made the money that we that was available to us by letting villain bet. However, I think big mistake on this hand was just checking the flop. We could have bet. He could have called. He could have called a half pot bet. So, if we go back to the flop, bets 9, we bet 4.5 or 5. He could call, and we just made. And then if he folds the turn or the river, hey, that's fine. We've made more money than we made just by checking behind and taking, letting him bet. So I don't like how I played this hand. We had his range was weak, or his hand was weak, and we kind of called it down. So yeah, this is a mistake. We need to be aggressive, even with our pairs on a board that should favor us, and with our value on a board that should get some calls. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.